Rich people of Reddit, how did you make all your money and become rich? Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to the Vancher channel. Also, please share your thoughts on this video in the comments. Let's get started. Story 1. Started a few companies, worked on them for 10 years, and they all succeeded somehow. Car exporting, real estate, and driving tours. Story 2. Can some real rich people reply to the thread? I don't think Redditors have the same definition of rich. Story 3. When I first started Rain Home Industries, I had just two things in my possession, a dream and £6 million. Story 4. I could tell you, but I think it would be much more beneficial if I taught you how to become rich yourself. All you have to do is attend my 2-day seminar on wealth building in the millennial generation for $900. Early bird special pricing is $799. Lunch provided both days. Story 5. Looked at Forbes' top 100 companies to work for, applied to all of them, got one. Edit, I meant Fortune 100, not Forbes. Fortune does a list every year. Here's the list for 2017. Answer, no disrespect, but tons and tons of people work at those companies and aren't remotely close to being rich. And I'm pretty sure there isn't a single entry-level position that would be close to being rich. I mean, okay, an entry-level hotshot developer at Google might make enough to be considered rich in a small Midwestern town, but they aren't rich. Step 1 might be landing a job at one of these companies, but it feels like you'd need to really be awesome and climb the ladder to reach rich status. Story 6. Abridged version, but started young with learning how to code, lived in an awful place where I could hardly go outside, learned a ton on the internet, and invested a little money in Bitcoin in 2012. Eventually cashed out in 2014 with a fairly large profit around the time I was starting college. Let my grades suffer to be an early employee at what is now one of the largest delivery apps in the US. Have since invested in several seed rounds for startups ranging from agritech to software for local government and so forth. I then networked my jerk off with local VCs in the Boston area and founded a startup myself afterwards. And that's it so far. Oh, and I also ended up with a super rich girlfriend from college. So if that works it out, it'll be the most profitable thing I've done yet. I'm not with her for money, just being real about it. Answer, oh, and I also ended up with a super rich girlfriend from college. So if that works it out, it'll be the most profitable thing I've done yet. I'm not with her for money, just being real about it. I'm in college for a degree where I could probably only make 60 grand a year. No school debt to speak of, though. But my girlfriend's family owns a multi-million-dollar insurance brokerage, and she is probably going to take it over once she finishes school, so she will probably make 5 times what I could make. So the money is an added perk to a girl I do truly love. I really liked her before I found out about her family. Story 7. Throw away. Senior, think very senior, as in top 10 of engineers, at a FANG company and clear about 2.5 months per year in compensation. Enough of a special snowflake that I don't have to live in the Bay Area. So I settled in a beautiful area where cost of living is also substantially less than what it would have been in the usual locations for this type of job. Comfortable life and work-life balance. Can vacation wherever and whenever I want with the family and buy anything we need, really, and still put away a shoot ton of money for an early retirement. Answer, hopefully you are still checking this. I'm thinking about taking a job in Santa Rosa for about $80K per year. I have a wife who won't be working for the next 3 years when both my kids start school. I know it's expensive up there, but I've been told it's doable on that salary alone. Is it? I figure we'd have to pinch pennies, but once my wife starts work and earns around 30-40K per year, we'll be comfortable. What do you think? Story 8. My family scraped together $1,000 to put into stocks because they thought it would be cool to give me something like that when I was born. They chose a local company that was getting started they thought was cool, Microsoft. From there on, I've been investing the money from that and not touching any of it other than pulling a chunk out to pay off college. I have still worked my jerk off since I was a kid because my family believes in earning your way, which was basically hard manual labor. I was doing everything I could to earn money and being very frugal since I got the idea of spending money as spending hours of my life early on. I'm sitting on a decent chunk of money now and continue to work hard because I really don't believe that I will see any Social Security when I get to that age, so I want to have something to fall back on. Answer, my grandfather used to tell the story of his friend who wanted him to invest in a mimeograph company back near the end of the Depression. He was doing well and relatively not impacted from the recession and could have done it. It would have been $1,000, no small sum back then. For some reason he didn't, and darn, that company went public and then renamed themselves to Xerox. He would have literally been sitting on a life-generational changing amount of money, but he was not the one to cry over spilled milk. That and his brothers stole the family company away from him while he went to college. They sold that for $200 million in the early 80s. They were pricks and their kids were pricks. He always said that we ended up better off without it, and I think we really did. Story 9. Been working oil fields since 24. House has been paid off. Car paid for. Make $140,000 a year. Everything saved now. Story 10. Went to medical school without taking out a loan. Became an orthopedic surgeon. Married an orthopedic surgeon who went to medical school without taking out a loan. Husband inherited his orthopedic surgeon father's estate. We make 1,000 a combined. Story 11. I've been robbing a bank for years. I go there for a set amount of time each week, and they just put the money in my account at the end of the week. Story 12. 1. Studied like a mother, fear from 14 to 21. 2. Got into medical school. 3. Became an anesthesiologist. 4. Married another doctor. Dropped every cent we made into real estate from 2010 to 2013. 6. Lived off 14 of our income, ignoring fancy cars and giant houses our friends had so we could continue to invest. 7. Built a medical practice and hired other physicians. Used the larger group to negotiate better contracts. 8. Got into cryptocurrency relatively early. 9. Continue to live a low-key life. I drive an Accord, for example. 10. 11. Live a long, healthy, and productive life. Answer, don't mind me doing a little impromptu AMA, but I have need of your expertise. I'm a bigger guy in my mid-30s, about 6'3" and around 300 pounds, with a possible surgery in my near future. And I'm terrified from stories I've heard of anesthesiologists screwing up dosage with bigger people and either eliminate them or leaving them in crazy pain, even waking up mid-surgery able to feel pain but unable to move. How much of an issue is this in your professional community? Is there reason to be worried? Should I Google my anesthesiologist and make sure he's up to snuff? Or am I worrying for nothing? Thanks in advance. Story 13. I stopped spending all my money and then Googled how much money I make compared to everyone else and realized I'm rich. The biggest factor is I haven't married or had children, and that in itself is like winning the lottery. Answer, same. Except I married a guy that isn't frivolous with money, earns similarly to me, and has the same financial goals and priorities as I do. Money troubles are always cited in the top 3 reasons for divorce, and money is a big deal in life and marriage. Also, and there's no way to say this without sounding bootstrappy, but a lot of my peers who earn similarly to me are in debt or living paycheck to paycheck. Watching their spending and priorities, it's not always hard to see what. And I've found it's true what they say that if you watch the pennies, the dollars will take care of themselves. I acknowledge that school costs are rising, but a certain point, it's not the system fudge you so far into debt that you'll be 40 before you're out. It can be tough to navigate when people act like my being well off wasn't a combination of luck. Absolutely. But also financial prudence and good choices too. Story 14. I have been self-employed since 25, but all ended in bankruptcies. Now with my 4th company that I started with 2 co-founders. Some investment rounds later, currently about 100 employees, and I have a decent chance of retiring at 40, if I want, with 3 or 4 million USD. Not ultra rich by far, but enough to live comfortable. Wife, 3 children, nice house. We live well below our means, hoping that I can use a future fortune to help me children get a good head start. Oldest is 10. Answer. Can I ask how the 3 previous bankruptcies affected you financially, if at all? I feel like you would need a pretty comfy starting sum of money to be able to survive. 3. Also, can you tell me what you learned and why you think this 4th company is different? Have you seen any patterns that lead to failure success? Any advice, observations are appreciated. Story 15. You don't say what rich is. I currently have about 60 M in holdings, with a total income stream of 6 M per year. I worked my way through community college and 4-year college during the 80s. While in college, I started a PC repair and sales store. I ended up selling it a few years later when I graduated for 2.5 M, 4 of the net for 10 years. I went to work in the corporate world as a programmer, but it wasn't for me, so I ended up starting a small software company with a buddy. We developed a niche product for legal time and billing that sold to small and mid-sized firms in my state. We split up after a few years and I sold him my share for 15 of the net. I bummed around Europe for a while and then came back and bought into a boat sales and repair shop. I spent a couple of years getting that profitable and hired a really good manager that runs the place for me. I did the same with a truck washing company and extended that to providing services to several transit systems in the region. Hired a great manager and moved on to another company that sold boats to higher-end clients. A few years later, I got wind of some zoning changes in the works and bought up some land outside of town in the northern portion of the state. I subdivided when the zoning went through and ended up selling 230 lots. I also started a mortgage firm and had a friend run that for me while we were selling those lots. We ended up doing our own servicing and extended out to other areas in the state. I'm retired now and am getting into woodworking as a hobby. I keep track of the books and help out with any problems with the businesses that I'm invested into. Keeps me busy, but not too busy. My wife has pretty much decided to rescue every dog in the state, and that's a full-time job all in itself. If you have a dog and it's outside by itself, then watch out. Story 16. I have a friend who is worth billions. Inherited it, does bat research on his own dime. Academic life. Story 17. I'm not rich by any means, but I'm comfy. My husband and I both have decent jobs we enjoy and save 30-40 of our salary each month. We own our own home, have a car, and a cat. We holiday abroad twice a year and have weekends away. Our rule in life is to run our lives so that only one of our salaries can cover our lifestyle. Thus, we have done a lot of deferred gratification and, apart from our mortgage, have no debt or credit cards. I have begun to do some long-term investing, and we're about to start buying a couple of rental properties in the next couple of years. Basically, we are boring and sensible, but very happy. Edit, we're also child-free, which saves a lot. Story 18. Bought 20 of Bitcoin at 10 cents each. Sold 2.7 million of Bitcoin, paid government. A fuckload of taxes, still have a bunch of the chute left over. Story 19. Car accident, nearly died. Got hit in the door, then put money into bonds, stocks, and annuities. Nearly made double from the settlement. Story 20. I can't speak to myself being particularly wealthy, but I can speak to parents. My mom pulls in $500K a year, and my dad could easily do the same, but reinvest the majority of his earning back into his business. I think in total, my dad's company is worth $25 million if he were to sell it today. Neither of them came from money, and each were able to individually work their way into their respective financial positions through hard work and a bit of luck. My mom sells commercial printing on commission and has worked at the same company for 24 years. She went to a state school for advertising and stuck with the same company she started with out of college. My dad owns a variety of companies, LLCs, and other ventures, all focused on real estate. He got his start doing feasibility studies for a large real estate management company. He was promoted through the ranks and eventually split off to help his friend found a company that would go on to be worth over $1.2 billion. Although he only had a 0.5 stake in the company, we were considerably wealthy. At this point, we would often fly in private jets around the country, and both my parents looked forward to retiring. Then the housing market crashed in 2008, and it was exposed that my dad's original partner had been running a Ponzi scheme, and the company was swimming in debt. Largest fraud case in our state's history. My dad and hundreds of others lost almost everything, with only pennies on the dollar being paid back. If it wasn't for my mom still working, we would have had to sell the house, etc. That's when he decided to work for himself and has developed his own successful string of operating and construction companies. Very little of his wealth is liquid, which is why my mom still works. Essentially, she pays for the bills and vacations and other day-to-day luxuries, while my dad is essentially the retirement plan. This wealth has afforded me many blessings, unsurprisingly. I'm about to graduate from a top 15 university and will be making $77K straight out of college with no debt. Despite my parents' success, they don't forget where they came from. At one point, my dad was mechanic construction worker, and to this day does the majority of the work on our house. He remodeled our kitchen when we first moved in, and now we are restoring an old VW Vanagon together. I can answer any other specifics if you would like. Story 21. I am literally sitting here with a notepad getting ready to pick up anything illegal anyone is doing so I can blackmail them. Story 22. Long-term investing in cryptocurrency. Nothing too crazy or exciting. Edit. For everyone PMing me, I've invested in Bitcoin, ETH, and Syscoin. Story 23. Inheritance. Real estate business isn't that hard if you grow up with a family that was already doing it. Not the most exciting way to get wealthy, but the most common way. Story 24. A true rags to riches story. My grandfather was born into a huge family in utter poverty, barely able to feed themselves, but he showed a remarkable aptitude to learning and was awarded a scholarship to the local grammar school, everything including clothing paid for. He excelled and went on to become the first in the family to go to university and would rise to one day become a headmaster of another grammar school with a comfortable life and wage. My father had a similar aptitude and was able to become a doctor specializing in radiology. After some years, he left the NHS and found founded his own company around software for radiology. He now owns a rather successful country employing a dozen people. Let's see where I go from here. Story 25. Simple. Buy cocaine and then dye it black. Resell it as toner to refill print cartridges. It instantly triples in value as toner versus cocaine. You're welcome. Story 26. Education, 25 years of experience, served on national boards in my field. Overall, I'm not rich in my own eyes, but I am comfortable. My goal is to travel a little now and still be good for retirement. Story 27. Man, this guy is clever. Time for the hackers to find out who these Redditors are and just earn some free money. Story 28. Let me preface by saying, I absolutely acknowledge that I lucked out in many ways and that it wasn't all hard work. I speak unaccented English from a family that valued but didn't pay for my education and a series of other really lucky things. However, it wasn't all luck. I got through graduate school without debt, and at the risk of sounding bootstrappy, I did it by living well under my means, working part-time and full-time when I could, eating cheap and healthy, living with roommates even when I didn't need to, and prioritizing my education and financial goals over all else in my 20s. I got a boring yet lucrative degree, didn't go to Europe on tomorrow's find myself. I have a family friend with so much debt, it makes my head spin. And yet, she doesn't seem to acknowledge that her many vacations, multiple pets, frequent moves, newish car aren't just inevitable parts of the college experience. I continually live below my means and save a lot of money. This doesn't mean that I don't go out or enjoy my money or whatever, far from it. I just prioritize things in ways that a lot of my peers who earn similarly to me, yet still struggle financially, do not. I married someone who is smart with money and shares my financial work leisure goals. The difference between our marriage and that of a friend who is not aligned financially with his SO is such a big difference in my financial, emotional, and mental health too. Story 29. I opened a company in around 2009 that basically did property maintenance on foreclosed houses. This company did fairly well, and I'd made it in the low six figures for about 5 or 6 years. I saved most of this money and used it to put my wife through RN school and to buy a couple duplexes. Once my wife got through RN school and started making decent money, 70, 80K, I knew my business had a shelf life, so I closed it down and went to school for my RN. I am 2 months away from graduating, and we have been perfectly comfortable on just her salary. Our rentals are almost paid off, and the plan is to continue just living off of her salary and sticking my paycheck into more rentals. We are both 34, and based on our current finances, we could retire comfortably by 40, living off of 50, 60K a year that will automatically adjust for inflation. Our plan is to keep doing what we have been for 15 more years until our daughter turns 18, and then we will retire on a nice catamaran. Based on the projections I've done, we should have 14 rental houses paid off by then, and we'll have much more than we need. Story 30. Make about 80K per year right now. Not rich, but happy for sure. I came to Humboldt County, CA 5 years ago and started selling pot. Anyone can do it. Story 31. My dad is rich. He just retired Will about $7.5 million in assets and cash. Good home, cabin, and rental are paid for. My dad has never bought a brand new car. He has never shopped for clothes anywhere but Walmart. He and his wife don't have updated finishings or kitchen or anything ridiculous. My dad has always been cheap. He's made 6 figures plus since his mid-30s, which is pretty good. But he's never lived as if he had any money. He told me, control your wants because you never stop wanting. Live below your means and pay yourself first. Story 32. My family has a decent amount of money. Almost everyone, men and women, none of this gender role BS, is a lawyer or doctor. The money starts to build up over time. So a combination of inheritance and going into a profession you know will pay well, basically. Story 33. Invest 20 of your gross from day one, no excuses and no exceptions. Oh, and no darn debt, the modern slave chains. Story 34. Made a new account because I don't need everybody up in my business. First, I don't know what rich means in this context, but me and my wife now own a couple businesses worth a couple million and am set to pull in about 500K annually. My wife makes another 200K on her own, so I suppose I'm a 1%er. Parents didn't have much money. I went to a state school and graduated with a degree in finance and another in economics after I realized there was enough overlap between the two that I could cram in an extra class or 2 per semester and walk out with 2 degrees in 4 years. So, why not? This is also while working 2 jobs to help my parents out with the school bill. We split it 50-50, and for my car to commute back and forth. I hopped into a stockbroker firm because that's what finance grads did in 1998. It took a couple years to get licensed, and Once licensed, the market tanked the next month. I made somewhere around 30,000 cold calls and maxed out at 42K per year. I dislike it, but I was good at math and my resume looked good. I went into the corporate world as a financial analyst and increased my pay to about 50K. A steady salary was nice, but it was boring. Met my wife, who had been in the corporate world. She did not come from money, but had several college degrees and was working on her MBA. She got a job offer to go to another country for 2 years. I'd basically mooch off of her as I went to business school for an MBA. Now, back in the US, we toil in corporate life for a while, making about 150K between us. We had weekends off, and life was pretty good, but we didn't like working the corporate gigs. Oh, I forgot to mention that I'm a highly functioning alcoholic. At least I used to be. All through business school, I focused my studies and reports and research into beer, adult beverage, and restaurants. After returning back home, sitting at my local bar, I'd had one too many and gave the owner of my local bar one too many pieces of unwanted advice, and he, ready to retire, threw me the keys and said, "500K and it's yours." So then I set out on how to buy it. A friend turned into a business partner, and we went halvesies. Years later, we bought them out, and my wife and I own 100. What started as a restaurant bar with 12 employees is now 2 restaurants with 80 employees. What were 800K of annual revenues 10 years ago are now set to be $5 million, and we have about a 10 profit. My wife still has a very well-paying part-time telecommuting from home consultant job that pays about 200K. Things haven't settled down financially with some loans we're repaying. But yeah, calendar year 2019, we should have a household income of 700K. How's it feel? It's nice to be able to buy stuff, but we're unbelievably stressed with work and life. Next step is to hire some smart managers or bookkeepers or an admin that can take some of the smaller day-to-day operational stuff off my plate. I'm still very hands-on in the businesses, and I'm running out of steam. So we feel like we're almost there, but we're so frantically working that right now it's tough to enjoy the fruits of our labors. Hope that helps some. My advice is to find something you like and work harder at it than you think anyone else is. Now I just need to figure out how to pull back on the work a bit. Story 35. I finished near the top of my class in high school so I could go to a decent college, despite growing up in one of the shittiest school districts in the United States. Also got a 1510 on my SAT when it was out of 1600. Was top of my class in college. Did relevant internships during the summers after my sophomore and junior years. Went straight to law school at an elite university. Got my JD and my MBA simultaneously in a 4-year period and passed the first 2 levels of the CFA exam during this time. Finished in the top 10 of my class for both degrees. Got a job as an associate, which for the uninitiated is 1 rung above an entry-level analyst, at an investment bank making $250K starting. Worked my way up, and now, almost 3 years after starting, I'm making close to $500,000 after bonuses. Also invested my money pretty well in the market, which has been really easy at any time following the financial crisis of '09. So I guess I'd say I pretty much just made my money by doing all the stuff your parents tell you to so that you can be rich. Also, my wife is a big law attorney who makes around $250K. Story 36. By going to a school that gave me a scholarship and then working 2 jobs while in said school, I actually graduated not in debt but by profiting from going to school. Story 37. I'm not rich by have a private jet or even fly first class everywhere, but I am pretty well off with a house, no debt, good income, and lots of money in the bank. Got here through a combination of good luck and planning. On the good planning side, I've been putting my maximum allowed amount into my retirement fund every year since my mid-20s and reinvesting any tax refund I receive. Married, no kids, only 1 car at a time, an economy car, which we drive till it dies. Paid off our house quickly by mid-30s by converting the mortgage into a secured line of credit, which we then could pay off at an accelerated rate with no penalty. Tend to vacation close to home. We're not ones to enjoy spending 1,000s of every years to go on vacation. On the good luck side, I've been fortunate enough to be working at 2 different companies that had IPOs and was able to net a respectable profit from stock options. Not millions. I'm just an employee, not an executive, but enough to be able to do all of the above without feeling like I am living like a monk. Story 38. Not rich, but I suppose I am by most people's standards for 28. I always planned ahead. I always believed you make your own luck. but I will admit I'm very lucky to have parents who've done the same and planned a safety net for me in case I failed. I was lucky to find my partner at 20 who had very similar values as me. We worked hard through all 4 years of school, and she landed a few decent full-time salary jobs for a college student. Even when we had money, we didn't spend it like we did. We ate a ton of canned food stored when cheap and cooked. We also shared a 2 BDRM apartment with 3 of our other friends, with 3 of us in the living room. That dropped my rent from $800 to $200 a month. Once we graduated, we moved to the city to find a job where we lived with our other couple friend, but moved to a different city later where rent was more affordable for just us two. I found a job in the bigger city, and I'm unfortunately forced to commute almost 4 hours a day, but that saves a crazy ton of money on real estate or rent just not being in that city. We were able to buy a house that had the potential to increase in value where we were instead, and that softened the commute by a lot. My partner has made a lot of advances in her field, and she makes roughly 2 incomes working from home, so it's really comfortable for her. And once my contract starts, we'd have a third middle range income. I understand for most that seems like a lot of money. We do spend more than we did like materials for renovating the house, but we save by doing the work ourselves. We're also reinvesting a lot of this money into our own businesses now, ready to step out of the working field. At some point, it's not the money anymore. It's just the amount of time I'd have to spend away from home, and I'd rather be home working with my partner and our dogs. Story 39. Worked as a contractor in Iraq, Afghanistan in my early 20s, then bought a small apartment building, 8 units, in the early stages of the neighborhood being gentrified. Then bought a couple other properties. Value has tripled since 2011, and coupled with my income from my job as a consultant for a DoD contractor, I make a decent amount. Also, not having kids helps. Story 40. I applied for a job I was entirely unqualified for as a technician solar plant in Nevada. They wanted someone with a degree in theoretical physics. I sort of lied. I made around $80K a year at 20 and invested the money wisely. Story 41. I'm not rich with millions a year, but I'm in the 6-figure area at 24 being a college dropout. Sales, selling credit card processing, merchant services, to be specific. Residual payment products are the way to go. Story 42. Started making computer games when I was 12. 20 years later, I had owned a company with 100 employees and sold it for millions. Story 43. Run for Congress and then change laws to your benefit, or invent a ridiculous app that does nothing to benefit mankind. Story 44. Real estate rental property. Everyone goes for get-rich-quick schemes such as stock or Bitcoin or whatever the fad is. Truth be told, real estate is a better investment, but takes longer to make cash. Free tip. Have kids and want to save for their college? Don't invest in 529. Buy a rental property sell when they are 18. That's a good decade at least of someone paying roughly $1,000 to $1,800 a month towards your kid's college fund. 120K low estimate. If you did a 529, it wouldn't even come close. Plus the potential increase of value of the home. Invest smartly too. Don't just buy a home to buy. Make sure the area is good and it's a desirable area to live. Also use a property management company. Will save you a ton of headache. Story 45. My parents are pretty rich and gave me a good start, plus a STEM degree in an area that is in high demand. Between the two, I do pretty okay. Story 46. Fair amount of luck and quite a bit of work. Stumbled into an unusual career with limited spending opportunities, paid for living expenses, and no taxes. This meant we saved without trying, bought a rental house. It happened to be 2009. Great time to get in. When we settled down and bought a house, it was 2010. Houses were cheap, still bought a fixer-upper, and did all the work ourselves. Sold rental, started a business. Turned out to be a crappy business, which I dislike. Didn't quit because my wife was at school and had a baby. Just ground it out and got on with it day after day. Avoided debt like the plague, lived inside our means, drove older cars, fixed stuff myself. Then we got an inheritance that was about equal to everything we had built. Paid off our house. Rest is invested for retirement. Didn't piss it away. Story 47. Saw a hole in the market. With friends, created a business to fill the hole. Did years of market research before release. Reinvested all earnings back into the company for several years until it became self-sustaining. Paid diligent attention to brand and customer experience. Avoided middlemen and did as much work internally as possible. Steered clear of classical business advice and business books. Hired a minimal staff. Embraced automation wherever feasible. Treated contractors well. Honored loyalty. We all make several $1,000,000 per year. Disclaimer. Started upper middle class with some savings. Previous job paid a shade over 100K. Got to that job by learning computer skills at a young age. Story 48, rental property. Do a little bit of cosmetic work, refi, take cash out, buy next rental property, rinse, repeat. Story 49. I don't mean to brag, but I have 0.83 in my bank account. If you too want to be successful like me, private message me for info. Story 50. My dad went from being a young, poor Marine. Once he left the service, he began working for EDS. Once Perot Systems was started, my dad became one of the first 100 people to work for Perot's new company. My dad is incredibly smart and probably worked too hard. He worked his way up and took stock options. By the time 2009 rolled around, he was a VP of Perot Systems. With a good salary, he had been able to start a couple of side businesses, including a small auto insurance agency. Well, eventually Perot Systems was bought by Dell. Stock options when a company is sold, and being a VP of Dell isn't a bad thing. With that, he also sold the insurance agency. His first time of retiring was at 50. He got bored and decided to start a new company. This was in 2015. It was an IT company based on the principles he had grown up with the Perot family. In a year, his company grew 300. Eventually, the Perots decided to invest. They bought most of the company at the time, and then they bought my dad out. So he owns one of the company now. He wasn't a big fan of being on the board anymore and having debates about what the company should do and how it should be run. So his company is now a Perot company. With all of these amazing opportunities, he's been able to invest in real estate. He busted his jerk for 30 years, made himself known to the Perot family so he could succeed, and now at 56, he's retired 2 or 3 times. Story 51. I worked hard and long enough to cover the legal fees for my name change, and that's how I became rich. Story 52. I've worked several industrial jobs in small towns that are dirt cheap to live in. I'm talking like $500 a month for decent 2-bedroom apartments with power bills that are also pretty low, thanks to shared walls reducing heating requirements and the delivery charges utilities love to tack on are also similarly reduced. Obviously, I'm not spending money constantly landscaping and renovating either. I keep a year's worth of expenses in my current living conditions and liquidity, and the rest I put into investments, basically. But the key is that I never even considered trying to get a city job where I might make a little bit more, but my expenses also skyrocket. Instead, after taxes and my expenses are done, I might save anywhere from 3-5 months of my monthly expenses per month, depending on how much OT I do. Story 53. Well, I'm not sure I would qualify as rich, mostly due to a recent divorce, which by the time it's all said and done will have set me back 7 figures. But if things go relatively well, I should be again by this time next year. I didn't come from money. My parents were educators and have managed to save and retire pretty well, but no big inheritance. I won't even pretend to have done everything right, but it's the grind that will get you there. Mistake 1 and solution: I took 6 years to graduate college, partied my jerk off and chased girls for 4 of them, picked up a bunch of minor consuming charges, and I had probably 50-60K in debt. Looked in the mirror one day while working a horrible construction job over the summer and realized this is what I would be doing for the rest of my life if I didn't pull it together and transferred to a school which didn't count previously earned credits grades towards your GPA, graduated cum laude with a degree that got me a job working for a well-known company building software. Mistake 2 and solution: I bought a house I could just barely afford. In 2006, literally weeks before the bottom fell out of the market. After realizing I would never be able to sell for what I owed, I cut my losses. I had 2 mortgages, young and dumb, I know, but this was in Seattle, and there was zero way to afford anything any other way. I borrowed money to pay the first mortgage in full and did a short sale. The second mortgage was a complete write-off, but ended up not affecting my credit score much. I then took a job in consulting in a field in a state that largely was unaffected by the economic downturn and basically tripled my salary over the next 6 or 7 years by working my jerk off. I bought rental property and a house at a good price during the downturn in my new state, both of which I made 6 figures off when I sold. I paid off my student loans, maxed out my 401k, and invested. Before shoot went sideways in my personal life, was getting to be pretty well off for someone my age, although not super cash rich. Mistake 3, married a shoot human. There is no solution to this once you have kids. You're stuck with them basically forever. Shoot got so bad, my personal life started bleeding into my professional life, and I got fired, although had another 6-figure gig 2 weeks later due to my field. Between divorce, division of assets, child support, I don't really count some of this, but child support is really just a super entitled form of alimony past a certain point. Lawyer bills, lost opportunities, etc. I'm out well in excess of one money. I don't have a solution to this, but I lucked out. I was an early Bitcoin buyer, and the division of assets happened during the great Bitcoin crash of 2014. She cleaned me out of a lot of things, but didn't care about a few thousand worth of something neither her nor her lawyer understood. That going 100x since then has definitely helped me start to get back to where I was. Also, just kept plugging away at work, took my boss's place when he retired, started saving and investing again. What I count as rich is being able to work or not if you don't want to and sustain a middle-class lifestyle, be able to start a business without putting you or your family's financial well-being at stake, that kind of thing. So probably 2 Miller's liquid net plus a house. I should be back there by next year, which I think is pretty decent for being in your 30s and never making more than $150K a year. I'd probably be at the 5-6M range if it wasn't for the divorce though. So anyway, I think the way most people get to be well off is to get a decent education, not necessarily college, lots of trades while I'm out there, in a field that will make you money, like learning about investing, save, invest. Don't be afraid of things like rentals that require active participation, but most of all, be careful who you marry and even more careful who you have kids with, and keep grinding away with the realization that financial independence is more important than having a bunch of shoot you don't need. Story 54. Started a marketing agency, did well, it sold. Started a retail operation that grew to 5 locations and also sold. Wife's a successful lawyer. Now I primarily consult for VC firms. We pull down about $600K a year. Not rich, I guess, but well off. Home paid for, cars paid for, etc. No kids. Story 55. What does it mean to be rich? When I was a child, I thought making anything would mean I was rich. When I made 15,000 år, I thought 40,000 år was rich. When I made 40,000 år, I thought 100,000 år was rich. When I made 100,000 år, I thought 600,000 år was rich. I haven't made it to 600,000 år yet, but I don't feel rich yet either. I am rich though, but maybe not the way most people imagine rich people to be. I think that the image of rich is different across income brackets, but my internal picture of rich means independently wealthy. I think if I had 20,000 invested with a 5 rate of return, I'd consider myself living my introductory to ideal rich lifestyle, which is probably more like low-level wealthy. If we look at rich versus wealthy, rich people are high-income earners. Wealthy people have passive income. In general, I'd say rich people still have to work for their income, while wealthy people have assets that work for them. A rich person can't stop working and maintain their lifestyle. A wealthy person can. So how'd I become rich? I went to college late as an adult and graduated with a marketable degree in computer science. I got a job paying $40,000 and enrolled in night classes for a master's in computer science. I completed that at 31 and had bumped up to 55,000 euros. I left that job for $75,000 at another company. I stayed there for 5 years, making it to $95,000. Then I left that for a job paying $150,000. I've been here 5 years and I made $220,000 on my current W-2. Meanwhile, I live off of about 36,000 euro per month. That is about 3,000 marmo. My monthly expenses are 1,000 mortgage, 200,000 house with 20 down, 300 utilities, 400 groceries, including meals out, 200 insurance, 200 internet cellular, 200 fuel, 2,300 miles. That leaves me 700 miles for random things like movies, drinking, savings for travel, maintenance on my car, whatever. Everything else, 120,000 goes to investments. 18,500 are into 401k plus some employer match. I cannot remember how much, maybe 3,000 year. 5,400 WAR into IRA, 25,000 WAR into an employee stock purchase program that gives me a 15% discount on our lowest stock price for the last 6 months. That means that if the stock doesn't move across those 6 months, I get a 15% discount. If the stock rose, I get to buy at the cheaper price and can immediately sell to realize those gains. The remainder, about 70,000, goes into a taxable investment account. I have about 1,000 across my taxable and tax-advantaged accounts. I'm not quite 40, single, no kids. This is a super safe path. I've been thinking about taking a riskier path to attempt to retire in 5 years. If my portfolio continues to perform at this rate, I suspect I'll be worth 2,000 at 45 and can retire, continue to meet my obligations, though health insurance might be a concern, and maintain a positive net growth in wealth. If I retire at 50 in the year 2029, I could see passive income in excess of 175,000. If I retire at 55 in 2034, my passive income would be about about 250,000. At 60, in 2039, 355,000. 65 in 2044, 489,000. These calculations consider that I do not get any raises and contribute more to my investments. In reality, male income peaks, on average, around 55 years of age. So who knows, I might be able to hit that $600,000 goal and finding out that rich people really live in 1,000 near income. If I can contribute 5 more year after year to my investments, I'd be contributing 440,000 a year to my investments when I hit 65, and I'd still not be worth 20,000 until I hit 70 years old. All of this assumes I see a 5 rate of return. In actuality, I have seen significantly more than that, even taking the 2008 correction into consideration. So, in summary, how did I get rich? Spreadsheets, frugality, talent, and patience. Story 56. Just want to preface that I am far from rich, but in a very comfortable spot for my age. 24 years old, $95K salary. Took my first job at $50K out of college in 2015. I job hopped every couple of months and negotiated salary every single time, netting at least a 20 increase for every new position. Lots of risk, but it paid off. Field, project management, majored in English. Story 57. Grew up poor, disliked being poor. Studied hard, got good grades, and took hardest classes. Studied hard for SAT and got into a top school with partial scholarship. Worked hard in college while working to support myself. Got hired into a finance job. Dislike it, but did well. Studied nonstop for 3 months for GMAT, got into top business school, spent 6 months case prepping, and go hired into top consulting firm. Worked hard and about to get promoted. Not super rich, but making $200K a year at 30 after growing up in a town with very little hope. Should continue to have fast salary appreciation and can really start enjoying it once I lay down MBA debt. Story 58. Lawyer here, I'm not rich. Becoming a lawyer is not a good way to get rich, but I work in mergers and acquisitions and have regularly helped owners sell their businesses for 8-9 figures. Turns out you don't need to invent the next big thing or be a genius to hit it big. I've watched people become millionaires in mundane fields, manufacturing, local telecom, things like that. What a lot of people don't realize is that you don't need to go public to strike it rich. There are a lot of investment banks and hedge funds out there that will buy businesses in this price range. 3 things I'd say these folks have in common. 1, incredible work ethic, especially when it comes to the mundane. Running a business involves a lot of attention to detail, like accounting and insurance and employee benefits and audit. It's not fun stuff, but it keeps things humming and makes the company valuable as an asset that you own. 2, a niche. This doesn't mean you have to be super inventive or super unique, but you do need to fill a gap in the market. You're not going to become rich by opening a coffee shop or restaurant. Probably Starbucks and Jimmy John's are the exception, not the norm. 3, brass balls or brass lady balls. Running a business is tough and scary. The odds are against you, and there are certainly times when it's better to bail out and start over than keep throwing good money after bad. But I would bet that just about every self-made millionaire pushed through a time where they thought about giving up, and keeping on is what got them where they are. Start your own business, succeed. Story 59. Not sure if this will make me rich, but hopefully someday comfortable. I support my wife while she studies, but because I've always had savings since my first job at 16, I was able to buy my first flat at 27 mortgaged. I didn't always intend to save for a property. I just realized one day that I had enough to get my foot on the ladder. I live well within my means and save around 30 of my income each month. I have a savings pot again, which will go towards improving my flat and hopefully making a profit from my investments should I sell the flat. Ultimately, I'd like to save hard again when my wife starts earning again later this year so we can buy another property to live in and then let the flat out. Long-term goal is to pay the flat off in full and have it as a second income. Basically, I have lived like a student since I was 16, had a few holidays and nice gadgets along the way, and continue to be careful with money whilst working a slightly below average for my area salary. You can do a lot if you don't spend unnecessarily. Also, no kids yet. Edit. Typos. I wrote this on an ancient smartphone. If it just about works, you don't need to spend money on another. Whilst on a train and have shaky hands. Story 60. Cryptocurrency. Never before has there been a time to make unreal amounts of returns. I was able to quit my job in December. Is it bubble? Is it luck? Maybe. In fact, I don't think all the current coins out there will be around long term. That's why I always invest in the technology and the team actually using a working product, not just an idea, that looks like it has potential. For example, Syscoin is a cryptocurrency that has incredibly fast transfer rates for payment and is creating various applications such as block market to allow anyone to buy and sell items using Syscoin or other cryptos. Shoot, they even have a darn Lamborghini for sale, all crypto listed on their platform. Answer: this, I bought a few months' salaries worth of Bitcoin between 2013 and 2015. When the Bitcoin developers started bickering and infighting about how to scale Bitcoin to widespread use, I converted most of it to other cryptocurrencies that looked promising due to newer tech and solving of potential problems. Nothing happened for a while. I just sat on them. Suddenly, in late 2017, two of the coins I invested in exploded in value. I have just enough to quit my job and retire, though I'd rather a little more cushion before making the leap. I predict that before 20, I will be living a life of early retirement. I should add that I have already taken out my initial investment, plus a little more. So even if it all goes to zero, I'm in the black. Doing that lets me ignore the day-to-day fluctuations of the market because it's extremely volatile in cryptocurrency and new investors get discouraged easily. Story 61. Define rich. Most rich people have learned not to talk about it. Also, most of them are too busy to post in threads like this. Story 62. Reposting from last time this question was asked. This will be a boring but hopefully honest answer. I am not a millionaire, but my mother is. The answer is simply hard work. She was born in Chicago in the 1960s to a pair of Irish immigrants with less than 300 to their name when they came to this country. Neither of my grandparents had more than a high school education, but they worked darn hard for my mom to go to college. She got a degree from a very good school and went into journalism. Not a career that's usually associated with high earnings, but she busted her jerk in a time when women were really just getting into that field. She's also made the most of her money as a single parent, as my father died of cancer when I was 11. She worked really hard and now, before taxes and after her bonus, is a managing editor at one of the most prestigious newspapers in the world, making close to $300K a year. Now she makes great money, but she easily works between 60-80 hours a week. The other answer is investments. My grandfather, although not educated, was always investing in the market and made a good deal of money, and so did my mother. She has a guy who, despite a slip-up that cost her over $200K, has earned that for us many times over. So I'm not trying to sound like a pull-yourself-up-by-your-bootstraps kind of guy, but in my mother's case, she came from very little and is now very wealthy. I fully admit that a lot of that was luck. My grandparents were able to enter the country because my grandfather charmed the man who would sponsor them while he was a waiter on a cruise ship. But a lot of it is also hard work. Sure, there are people born into great wealthy and prestige, but a lot of them work darn hard for it. Sorry for any formatting issues, I'm on my phone. Story 63. If you have experience in your field, try consulting freelancing. I make 3x more than I did when I had a traditional job and work way less. Story 64. Define rich. Like, I don't look at the prices at Denny's rich, or I don't look at the prices at Best Buy. Story 65. By income, my wife and I are in the top 5 of earners for our age-race education. Still have a lot of debt with student loans and mortgages, but knock on wood, if we both retain our current salaries, we will start accumulating wealth relatively rapidly. We both have graduate or professional degrees, and we don't have kids. Story 66. I took out a large life insurance policy on myself and made my dog the beneficiary. I then faked my own passing, assumed a new identity, and now live as Woodsworth, the humble caretaker Ms. Beans, the richest yellow Labrador in all of Texas. Story 67. Just take out a small loan of $1,000 from your dad. After that, everything will just fall into place. Story 68. Grandfather worked in advertising in the Mad Men era. Left me about $45K for school, and I decided after high school that university college wasn't for me. Invested the money into Bitcoin as well as stocks when it was around 200 USD and sold at 15,000. I still work doing what I love, photography, filmmaking, but I have a safety net and an apartment that I don't have to worry about with my significant other. Story 69. I'm not rich, I have a decent job, but I made a ton of money on the side by not having kids, not blowing money at the bar every weekend. I sold substances until I got a nice chunk of cash and then gave it up. I used that chunk to buy a rental property. Now I have a steady stream coming in. I used that steady stream to buy another rental property. I used that income to buy Bitcoin. That blew up. I used that money to open my own business, all the while investing 20 of my job's income in the stock market. I'm independently wealthy now, and I'm almost ready to tell my boss to kiss my jerk. I'm 34 TLDR. Learn to invest. Find something you are passionate about and find a way for people to pay you for it. Learn the miracle of compounding interest over time. Story 70. I'm not rich, but my dad is, and since we're both assholes to each other, I'll likely never see an inheritance. I'll tell his story since it literally started in poverty in a third-world Asian country. My dad was the fifth of 6 children. They tended to a chicken farm growing up in order to survive. He got his work ethic by watching his neighbors starve while he cleaned chicken choots 7 days a week. When he was a teenager, he got his first job delivering groceries. He did this for about 5 years until he saved up enough to go to university in the U.S. During his time in school, he was working full-time and also completed a 4-year business program in 3 years. He went on for a master's and got it in another 2, all while working full-time at various restaurants. Well, the business degrees hardly mattered. He worked his way up to district manager of a Chinese fast food franchise. It was his crazy work ethic that got him there, as well as a pinch of luck that his higher-ups even noticed him. He did this for a couple more years, making at least 6 figures a year. Pretty good for a first-generation immigrant. Around this time I was born, he was very frugal and saved a lot. Growing up in poverty will do that to you, I guess. About a decade later, he finds an opportunity to buy a lease for a location in the Atlanta airport from a business doing poorly there. He buys it, turns it into a successful business, and is now his own boss. Then he does it again and has 2 restaurants in the Atlanta airport. The money is pouring in. I was just a kid and he never discussed business with me, so I had no idea things were going so well. Well, he's a stereotypical Chinese cowboy-obsessed American now. Got his citizenship and bought some land, about 200 acres of an old strip mine. He started raising cattle while his managers kept his business running. He had a passive income of about $250,000. He could turn farming into a hobby. Then came the fracking boom. He sold those rights for over $1 million plus royalties. So there you have it. It just requires an insane work ethic, ignoring one's family to the point they dislike you for your emotional distance, and a huge bit of luck. The family part might be better to avoid completely. But yeah, like being born rich, making yourself rich is mostly luck too. It was mostly chance that he got that promotion, pure chance he knew the guy selling the lease, and pure chance he bought cheap land with oil underneath. Story 71. Born poor, studied my jerk off for 12 years after high school and am now a dermatologist. Make $350K a year working 35 hours a week. Life sucked while I was consistently putting in 80-hour weeks in school, but life is pretty good now. Story 72. 75 years ago, my great-grandfather started Mississippi's first steel rebar manufacturing company. That plus an industrial supply store has been my family's source of income ever since. We aren't like insanely rich, we're just like mostly rich. But we live way below our means, so my life is just more like middle class. So the key to getting rich, can't tell you there, but I can say that even if you have money, you shouldn't just act like you do. Save it, invest it, live comfortably but not extravagantly. Story 73. Grandpa left me property in a town that was about to be gentrified. Half of it I sold off immediately, and another half I rent as stores. Story 74 was the strangest thing. One day I got this email from a lawyer saying I was the last remaining distant relative from someone in Europe. Turns out this relative passed away and left a massive fortune. He said it was worth 100 million euros. The lawyer told me the last person lost out on the fortune because they thought it was a scam. LOL, poor them. All I had to do to get the money was pay for the transaction and tax. So I took a loan from the bank and paid the lawyer. Only had to pay $100,000 to get the fortune. I should get the fortune in the next week. I know it's not a scam because the lawyer sent me the Bank of America proof of payment of 100 Mailers pounds, just waiting for my bank to process it. Story 75. Things are going very well. I traded a thumbtack for Meredith's junk for Kelly's crap, for Phyllis's garbage, for Oscar's trash, for Stanley's garbage, for Ryan's junk, for Creed's garbage, for a very cute squid that Aaron happened to have. Story 76. My parents are black architects who went to Yale. They paid for my college and I invested in domain names at an early age. Story 77. M was in the 0.2 of income in 2016 and should hit 0.1 for 2017 once my accountants are finished. In short, I read a lot. My hobbies are money and business. I don't watch sports. I work 7 days a week. But work to me now is very different than working at Subway when I was 15 for 525 RR. The Army paid for my undergraduate and work paid for graduate school. I have always lived well below my means and always been interested in money business. I studied engineering and got an engineering sales job once I left the Army. I started at $60K and quit 4 years later after making $140K. While making $140K a year is great for most people, That amount wasn't that much different to me than 80 or 120. I don't feel I'm fully utilized unless I make 1M a year, and I'm sure that will change to 10M as time goes on. I started a company while working for corporate America. I quit to start another company, and it was a complete disaster. Be very careful about partners. I finally got out of that last year and have started 2 more companies. I made over 100K last month. I drive a used vehicle, live in a nice house, but much less nice than I could afford. My wife also owns a business, and she's been crushing it too. I'm lucky to have been born in America. I don't know if it's luck, but I have a passion for making money, and entrepreneurship genuinely interests me. I think about it all day. I don't watch TV. I don't watch the news. I don't use Facebook. I still have several close friends from high school, but it is getting hard to make new ones that aren't trying to be friends for a nefarious reason. If you have made it this far in my comment, and you want to be successful, work at a small to medium-sized business. Show up on time, master your job, and find the owner GM and ask how else you can help or if they can mentor you to be successful. It is so difficult to find good employees. I pay more than I should. But good people are very hard to find. Giving a fudge goes a really long way, and your boss will know. M31, we paid over 400K in taxes last year. I wouldn't say I'm happy. I don't have the problems many of you have, but you also don't have the problems I do. If you fudge up your job, you get fired. If I fudge up at my job, everyone loses their job. Company has a bad year, I lose. Manager intimacy harasses an employee that eyewitnesses say didn't happen. I could lose it all. Competitor comes in, I lose. Amazon gets in my industry, I lose. It really is the emotional roller coaster. I was diagnosed as manic depressant, but I think it's just the life I've created for myself. Story 78. Took over parents' business that was doing poorly in 2007. Made a few key personnel changes. Worked my jerk off and survived 2008 and 2009 financial crisis by the skin of my balls. Saved every penny I did make. Did a little investing, got a bit lucky, bought an apartment as an investment. It got good enough that I didn't take a dividend out of the company for 3 years, lived off investments and rent, and now consider myself rich and splurge on nice vacations a couple of times a year, paid cash for a new car in 2015. Combo of being born into the right family, tremendous hard work and stress, and an appetite for risk, and a whole lot of good luck. It's only been about 10 years since I started working, but I honestly feel I could semi-retire in 5 years if things keep going this well. Story 79. Rich could be defined in many ways, but ill base it off of the country's household income statistics. We are in the early stages of our careers, but we both bring home over 125K a year. My wife and I have very different paths on how we got there, but both worked. It'd lie if I said a lot of it wasn't luck, but if I were to give any advice, it would be to know who you are, what you stand for, work hard and treat people with respect. In addition to this, network. Oftentimes, it isn't always what you know as much as it is who you know. Surround yourself with successful individuals. Story 80. Wife and I have passed the 1M mark in net worth recently. We are mid-30s. I wouldn't say we're very rich. In many circles, we're just average wealth, but we're doing fine and have more than our fair share. We honestly made our money by working normal jobs and not increasing our standard of living as our paychecks increased. I still like to live as if I made 40K a year, even though our salaries have more than doubled. The additional salary at first all went to maxing the 401K and then buying additional index funds and stocks in my own brokerage account. I just buy and hold on a regular basis. If you're lucky enough to have a good career, and if you deprive yourself for 10 years and save money, you can have the opportunity to amass a decent amount of money. Story 81. Not rich yet, comfortable. Listened to a smart man when I was getting out of the Savis. He told me to find what I was good at, then apply discipline to become the best, whatever it was I could be. For me, it was math. Became an engineer. Made decent money. Self-educated in finance. Math is way easier, by the way. Saved up and started my own business. Story 82. I'm a lawyer in Midtown Manhattan who works morning to night and then doesn't go out more than once a month. I live in a basement room converted into a 3-bedroom through curtains, and then I rent out everything else. All that allows me to save up to 60 of my income per month, depending on the month. Investing a portion into stock market with target 12 harm returns, real estate at 10 returns, ready 401k at 10 returns, and I will be able to retire in my 40s, hopefully. I somehow also going a super hot wife that is even more frugal than me, so it should be okay. Kids will probably end up spending all my money though. Story 83. I think why we aren't getting many real answers from the millionaires people are looking for is because they don't waste their time on Reddit. Story 84. I am not sure I am defined as rich because that is a bit ambiguous. However, I am certainly in the top 1 of households with a low to mid 7-figure net worth. I am retired and live off my investment income. I do not own any rental properties. I grew up dirt poor and received no inheritances. Okay, I am a school dropout. So I started working earlier started in 1976, age 18, making $5,200 a year. First few years were a bit of a backup and saved no money. Then I got a job where I got to talk to people about their personal financial situation. I found it interesting how different people in similar situations had far different net worths and lifestyles. Got married and divorced before age 21, remarried at 25, started saving money and bought a house. Lived frugally, saved and invested, learned as much as I could about taxes, investing, and took advantage of any government programs and tax incentives. Still spent money on things we enjoyed like travel, skiing, etc. Never made big dollars compared to today's university-educated kids. Retired at 55, could have gone earlier, but enjoyed my work. If you can't inherit money, marry money, earn big bucks, or invent the internet, then 1. Pick the right spouse. Divorce is expensive, so if you have to do it early. So spouse should have similar habits in terms of spending. 2. Pay yourself first. Take 10 to 20 off the top of each paycheck and invest. Spend the rest and enjoy. Compounding is the 7th wonder of the world. 3. Learn about and take advantage of tax deferrals and government incentives. 4. Learn about investing. Don't use a financial planner or broker. They will make you broker, and no one cares about your money as much as you do. 5. Either you or your spouse should learn to be handy and do it yourself and get a few good tools over time. Save a crap load on repairs and maintenance. I still take my car to a trustworthy mechanic. It is easier than ever to DIY vacations, appliance repair, home renos, etc. 6. Don't be afraid to buy good quality used cars, furniture, etc. Can be fun to hunt down bargains with spouse. 7. Don't try to keep up with the Jones. Story 85. Immediately after getting out of prison, I robbed a casino by hacking into their security cameras and making them display a tape of me stealing money from a duplicate vault that I had made. I then told the owner that I'd only taken half the money, but rigged the other half to explode if he didn't use his armed guards to adult worker, my half of the money into my van, and gave his guards fake money to adult worker. Then while he was busy with that, I disguised myself as a SWAT team and went into the vault and stole the real money. Story 86. Moved back home after college, spent nights getting better at development through ebooks and YouTube, eventually got a better job at a Big 4 bank, and just bought a co-op in Brooklyn. Not rich, but making a little under 6 figs in my late 20s. I guess keys to the game were being born in a family that allowed me to stay home after college, being born in a state that has affordable college, SUNY CUNY, and picking a job field that's in demand, software development, in college. Story 87. I saved money by moving in with my parents and cutting back on avocado toast. Once I had saved enough for bootstraps, I bought some and pulled myself up by them. Story 88. Dink, consulting, live in a low-cost area, bought my house in borderline condemned condition and renovated it. Spend my extra money on investments before it hits my bank account. I max out 401k and auto deposit to investment accounts. Be aggressive about asking for more money and looking for new jobs. Story 89. Am not rich, but I got my MBA nearly 10 years ago and started working in corporate marketing. I am a manager now and make probably $150K in a low cost of living city. My wife is in a similar trajectory and makes the same kind of money. Our household income is pretty high, $300K. We honestly didn't do anything special except for deliberately choose education paths and careers that had a lot of opportunities. We also make sure to save or invest whatever we can. 401Ks, index funds, stocks, real estate, and lately we're pursuing some other business opportunities that are riskier but have higher potential for return. We won't ever be mega wealthy, but we are building wealth that might become significant as we're ready to retire. Story 90. I was on the beach one day and this banana stand caught fire. I ran over to help, but nobody was in it, and there was buttloads of cash in the walls just flying everywhere. Story 91. I fell into a ditch at a train station on purpose, and the government paid me out. Not really, but I think about it a lot. Story 92. Worked a white-collar job, as did the spouse. But being rich now came from saving and investing in the stock market. Not hitting it big on some stock, just putting in low-overhead mutual funds and lots of time. By retirement, we're sitting on 7 figures plus Descent SS to come in real soon now. So I think we're rich. Not Trump rich, but can buy what we want. Story 93. I'm not rich, but I could be classed as wealthy. I only make $54K a year, but after bills, food, and the like, I keep around $40K a year to do whatever I want with. I inherited a home with a well and have 2 windmills now. It's not always what you make, it's what you keep. Story 94. Made a little more than $1 million last year. I'm in my 20s, so I didn't have a lot saved prior to that, and it's by far the most I've made in a year to date. I don't feel particularly well off, though I obviously know that I am. I live in the most expensive city in the US, if not the world, and still share a not great apartment with one other roommate. Plan on getting my own place soon, though. I pay 50 of my income to taxes, which honestly is annoying, but whatever. Can't complain because I'm super lucky to be where I am. My job is incredibly unstable, and I expect to earn much less this year and could easily lose my job entirely, so I pretty much just save, invest everything, and donate probably less than I should. And to answer the question, I was born smart, work hard, and got lucky. My parents aren't well off at all. In fact, nobody in my extended family is. I took loans to go to a good school and studied something, finance and accounting, that I knew was marketable. I'm lucky that it's something I actually enjoy. From there, I leveraged one job to the next and managed to eventually join a team of really smart, successful people that are willing to both teach and pay me. I just hope I can continue to keep up. Story 95. Invested in a stock that was going bankrupt on a company I just knew would be bought up by another company, then forgot about it completely until 4 years later when it was mentioned to me when in passing. Sold the stock at 100x what I paid for it. Bought a condo for really cheap. Put the rest in a retirement fund. Have a Roth IRA. Any money you put into it, you are taxed on, but all money that comes from interest is tax-free. You can put $5,500 in every year. If you are 30 years old and put in the max every year, and with the average growth, you could be looking at roughly $750,000 by the time you're 60 and can withdraw the money. I still work, and I don't ever plan to retire. I would go insane not working. Story 96. I never understood why people thought real estate is a good thing to invest in, but the majority of rich people in this thread invested in it. It seems like a mildly slow way to build income, while also jacking up house prices to the point 30-year-old homeowners will slowly die out. Story 97. I won the lotto. I put $25 million in a living trust and just live off of one a year. The trust earns more than that, but I just put it back in the trust. The rest of the money was given away to worthwhile charities. That's it for this video. Don't forget to support Vancher and my second channel, Vancher. See you soon.